Hello, I'm Julian Whittle. I'm the Chamber's Business Engagement Manager, and I'm with Joanne Holborn from Baines Wilson, the commercial law specialists. Joanne's an employment law specialist who's represented private and public sector clients in employment tribunals throughout the UK. And we're here to talk about the perils of the Christmas party. So, Joe, at this time of year, many employers do a host of works, do, or an office party. It's a way of thanking staff for all their hard work over the year, but they're not without pitfalls, are they?
Unfortunately, not, Julian. Whilst obviously the idea of a Christmas do is to thank staff for all their hard work and for everyone to have a good time, unfortunately, sometimes when alcohol is involved, things can either become a bit rowdy, which may lead to kind of Christmas punch-ups. There often can be cases of sexual harassment or sex discrimination at the Christmas party, which obviously an employer then has to deal with the aftermath back in the office, either the following day or the following week.
So there's a potential for disciplinary proceedings coming out of these sorts of events then?
Unfortunately, yes. That can common things that we have to deal with in the office do tend to be either assaults or, perhaps employees getting involved in relationships that aren't quite appropriate, shall we say. So
is this all alcohol driven then? Is alcohol the main problem?
I'm not too sure whether it's just alcohol, but high spirits, or people lose their inhibitions perhaps with alcohol. But that tends to be related to a lot of the issues that we have to deal with.
And of course it can lead to grievances and employment tribunal claims as well.
Yes, it's a combination of disciplinary issues, employees who feel they haven't been treated appropriately at the Christmas party, or if somebody has made an inappropriate comment, then they may raise a grievance as a result of that. Obviously, there's issues as well with people potentially coming in hungover if they can't do their job, or not turning up for work if the Christmas party's on a kind of school night and people are turning up or not turning up worse for wear the next day.
Now, is this the case then? So even if the party takes place off work premises, out of work time, are employers still liable for acts of their employees?
Yes, because the Christmas party, if it's organised by the employer, is an extension of the workplace, and employers are vicariously liable for their employees' actions if it takes place in that environment. Obviously, employers can protect themselves to a certain extent by explaining to employees how they expect them to behave at work, but they need to be able to prove that they've done that very clearly in the context of the Christmas party in order to have a defence in those circumstances.
Right. Now, another issue, I think, is that senior managers need to be wary about what they say and do at parties as well, don't they?
Yes, it can be the case that if there's a promise of a pay rise or a promotion at the Christmas party, and the employee can clearly remember that, then contracts don't have to be in writing; they can be oral, and therefore those sort of promises made at a Christmas party can be binding.
All right, that's one to be very mindful of then. So, what's best practice then? What should employers do ahead of the party to make sure that staff know where the boundaries are?
Obviously, we don't want to be killjoys, and the Christmas parties can be good fun and great for all concerned. But obviously, employers need to make sure, not just in the context of the Christmas party, but in their general policies and procedures, that they have told employees how they expect them to behave at work. So that's things like their equal opportunities policy, drugs and alcohol policy. And sickness absence policy in terms of is somebody sick when they're ringing up because they've got a hangover? Well,
I was just about to come on to that, but so what effectively you're saying is that the party is an extension of the normal working environment, and employees have to remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what happens then the next day if people have overindulged and they don't turn in for work? Have the employers got grounds for disciplinary action on that?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, some employers may take a view as to whether, if it has been, say, on a Thursday evening, and they may be more relaxed about people coming in late, but obviously that needs to be by prior arrangement. However, if there isn't any kind of relaxation of working hours, then it's potentially a disciplinary offence if somebody doesn't turn up, or if they do turn up and they're under the influence, then
Yes.
that's equally an issue. And obviously, if people are driving in the course of their employment, then that's another issue for the employer.
Now, harassment issues are very much in the public eye at the moment, but it isn't just Hollywood moguls and politicians who need to worry about this, is it?
No. Again, in the context of of a Christmas party, if somebody makes an inappropriate comment to a colleague, then that can lead to grievances and also potential harassment claims.
And even an inappropriate Secret Santa gift might fall foul of this, might it?
Yes, if somebody thinks that it's inappropriate and they find it offensive, then that potentially is harassment.
Okay. Now, because we've got to remember, Christmas is a Christian festival, and then some employers will obviously have employees of other faiths. Does this raise any particular issues?
No, as long as everybody's included within the celebrations, then that shouldn't be an issue. But it's important that employers make sure that people don't feel discriminated against if for personal or faith reasons they don't celebrate Christmas.
Okay. So is there anything else employers should be doing at this time of year?
Well, I guess the only other thing to be mindful of is potentially adverse weather and having a policy in terms of whether employees can actually get into work for snow or bad weather conditions.
Yeah, we're recording this on Tuesday, and I think there's a snow warning for Cumbria later in the week, so this may turn out to be very timely advice, Joe, on that. And another one, I think, this time of year is December, the peak month for people going sick.
I'm not sure about that, but obviously with Christmas parties and things, then that can be an issue. The other thing is that employees quite often all want to take holidays to go and see family and friends at Christmas, so it can be an issue, and certainly it was worthwhile considering having a holiday policy to basically say it's a first come first served basis or whatever it is, so people are treated equally in terms of dealing with holiday requests.
And of course it's important as well that employers have up-to-date sickness and absence policies.
Indeed, yes.
Okay. All right. That's very good advice, Joe. Thanks very much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, Julian.